Welcome to the Age of Aquarius. I'm Ammuniti, and you're here with me today because I've been pushed to do this video that I've been putting off for a while, but it's time. It's 30,000 guillotines, 600 million rounds of ammunition. FEMA ordered 102,000 boxcars with shackles and guillotines. Okay, and this is something you really do need to be aware of. The whistleblowers here included an ex-FBI leader and head of the Los Angeles FBI, Ted Gunderson, ex-CIA agent Bill Paulette, and ex-NSA agent A.C. Griffith. So, I'd say it's pretty credible. Here, also some information here. It was borrowed from the ShariaUnveiled.wordpress.com information, and this is HB 1274 authorizes the state of Georgia to execute citizens by guillotine. Georgia House of Representatives, 1995-96 sessions, HB 1274, death penalty guillotine provisions, code sections 17-10-38 /17-10-44, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to the death penalty, generally so as to provide a statement of legislative policy, to provide for death by guillotine, to provide for applicability, to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. Section 1, the General Assembly finds that while prisoners condemned to death may wish to donate one or more of their organs for transplant, any such desire is thwarted by the fact that electrocution makes all such organs unsuitable for transplant. The intent of the General Assembly in enacting this legislation is to provide for a method of execution which is compatible with the donation of organs by a condemned prisoner. Now, let's think about this. Why exactly does the U.S. government need 30,000 guillotines and over 600 million rounds of hollow point bullets? There are over 800 prison camps in the United States, all fully operational and ready to receive prisoners. They are all staffed and even surrounded by full-time guards. But they're all empty. These camps are to be operated by them, okay? Should martial law need to be implemented in the United States, and all it would take is a presidential signature on a proclamation and an attorney general's signature on a warrant to which a list of names is attached. Ask yourself if you really want to be on that list. The Rex 84 program was established on the reasoning that if a mass exodus of illegal aliens crossed the Mexican-U.S. border, they would be quickly rounded up and detained in detention centers by FEMA. Rex 84 allowed many military bases to be closed down and to be turned into prisons. Operation Cable Splicer and Garden Plot are the two sub-programs which will be implemented once the Rex 84 program is initiated for its proper purpose. Garden Plot is the program to control the population. Cable Splicer is the program for an orderly takeover of the state and local governments by the federal government. FEMA is an executive arm of the coming police state and thus will head up all operations. The presidential executive orders already listed on the Federal Register also are part of the legal framework for this operation. The camps all have railroad facilities as well as roads leading to and from the detention centers. facilities. Many also have nearby airports. The majority of the camps can house a population of 20,000 prisoners. Currently, the largest of these facilities is just outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. The Alaskan facility is a massive mental health facility and can hold approximately 2 million people. Now let's review the justification for any actions taken. Okay, the executive orders associated with those guys that would suspend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The executive orders have been on record for nearly 30 years and could be enacted by the stroke of a presidential pen. Executive Order 10990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Executive Order 10995 allows the government to seize and control the communication media. Executive Order 10997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to seize all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks, or vehicles of any kind, and total control over all highways, seaports, and waterways. Executive Order 10999 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 11,000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Executive Order 11001 allows the government to take over all health and education and welfare functions. Executive Order 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports and aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Executive Order 11004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designated areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Executive Order 11005 allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Okay, so if you got a storage unit, you ain't going to be able to get in it. Executive Order 11051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions or economic and or financial crises. Executive Order 11310 grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders, to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaison, to control all aliens, to operate penal and correctional institutions, and to advise and assist the President. Executive Order 11049 assigns emergency preparedness function to federal departments and agencies, consolidating 21 operative executive orders issued over a 15-year period. Executive Order 11921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credits, and the flow of money in the U.S. financial institution in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. General Frank Salzito, Chief of FEMA's Civil Security Division, stated in a 1983 conference that he saw their role as a new frontier in the protection of individual and government leaders from assassination of civil and military installations, from sabotage and or attack, as well as prevention of dissident groups from gaining access to U.S. opinion or a global audience in times of crises. FEMA's powers were consolidated by President Carter to incorporate the National Security Act of 1947, allows for the strategic relocation of industries, services, government, and other essential economic activities, and to rationalize the requirements for manpower resources, and production facilities. 1950 Defense Production Act gives the President sweeping powers over all aspects of the economy. The Act of August 29, 1916 authorizes the Secretary of Arms in time of war to take possession of any transportation system for transporting troops, material, and any other purpose related to emergency. International Emergency Economic Powers Act enables the President to seize the property of a foreign country or national. These powers were transferred to FEMA in a sweeping consolidation in 1979. Here's a little quote here from Revelations. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Revelations 24. So, 30,000 modern guillotines in the USA can kill 30 million people in a 10-hour day. One guillotine can kill about 100 people per hour. Again, these guys here, I don't know why I keep pointing, I've already screwed up and said their name. They ordered 102,000 boxcars with shackles and guillotines. They have 3-layer boxcars for transporting shackled prisoners to more than 800 empty and guarded concentration camps across the USA, with 20,000 new prisoner boxcars and 40-foot railroad containers arriving in Oregon from China for our forests for planned martial law in a time of military exercises for martial law in November 11th through 19th, 2009. A van full of eyewitnesses, missionaries traveling across America to evangelize and pray, stumbled across these boxcars in Montana, near Columbia Falls and Glacier. They described boxcars, in this case painted black, with shackles welded into them and a modern guillotine at the head of each boxcar inside. As they were photographing mountain scenery, they decided to follow railroad tracks into the wilderness so as not to get lost. This is how they came upon these boxcars with shackles. I later received a report from Lee Harrington, this is the gentleman speaking, Valier of Montana, who was a professional metalworker. He told the person how in Glasgow, summer youth workers were employed to weld shackles into boxcars in that operation. They were then shipped west to Glacier and stored on remote side tracks. Passing through the Blackfoot Indian Reservation and Cutback, a local Blackfoot Indian, George Bullcalf, spotted these strange boxcars. When they interviewed the local patriots in Columbia Falls, they confirmed that hunters often stumbled upon these boxcars and remote train spurs in the wilderness region. A wife of a high-level executive admitted that her husband finally told her that Gunderson was under secret contract from the U.S. government to produce these prisoner boxcars. She also admitted that Gunderson had a satellite factory for a boxcars with shackles operation in Texas. Another source, Watchdog, a retired military vet with a watchdog group, yet another boxcar with shackles operation in New Hampshire with 3-tiered boxcars fitted with shackles. Metal worker Lee Harrington also described 20,000 Chinese prisoner boxcars with shackles and modern guillotines in the form of 40-foot railroad containers coming into America via the West Coast. They were ordered by the American government through a senator who visited China and ordered these items. Workers unloading them became suspicious and began to investigate and discovered these horrors from China. Such 40-foot cargo containers from China are now piled up along the west coast, especially along Long Beach Naval Shipyard, turned over to the Chinese. I receive constant reports across America regarding these types of prisoner boxcars from former radio listeners and patriots across America and Canada. Recently, a former high-level Satanist from the mountains of North Carolina, now a Christian and receiving discipleship, admitted that boxcars with shackles were indeed in the mountains of North Carolina, waiting for the hour of martial law. This is in Asheville, North Carolina. He warned that patriots and Christians arrested and secured into these prisoner boxcars under martial law will never even make it to the death camps. And that is, those death camps. That many will be tortured and sacrificed once restrained in these prisoner boxcars. Again, those people, have 3-layer boxcars for transporting shackled prisoners to more than 800 empty and guarded concentration camps across the U.S., with 20,000 new prisoner boxcars and 40-foot railroad containers arriving in Oregon from China for planned martial law. What they're given as a good reason here is that guillotines are cost-cutting because they eliminate the manufacture and appropriate storage of ammunition, poison for lethal injections, unnecessary electricity. Beheading with a clean, fast cut leaves organs intact. And as of now, organs are expensive. I also came up across the Oath Keepers at the Oath Keepers blog spot. Oath Keepers orders we will not obey. And I just want to kind of go over that to kind of remind you, people that have taken oath, just kind of remind you of this. Recognizing that each swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and affirming that we are guardians of the Republic, of the principles in our Declaration of Independence, and of the rights of our people, we affirm and declare the following. Remember, we will not obey any order to disarm the American people. We will not obey any order to conduct warrantless searches of the American people, their homes, vehicles, papers, or effects, such as warrantless house-to-house searches for weapons or persons. You agreed to this. You took an oath. We will not obey any order to detain American citizens as unlawful enemy combatants or to subject them to trial by military tribunal. We will not obey orders to impose martial law or a state of emergency on a state or to enter with force into a state without the express consent and invitation of that state's legislator and governor. We will not obey orders to invade and subjugate any state that asserts its sovereignty and declares the national governments to be in violation of the compact by which the state entered the Union. We will not obey any order to blockade American cities, thus turning them into giant concentration camps. We will not obey any order to force American citizens into any form of detention camps under any pretext, not on our watch. We will not obey orders to assist or support the use of any foreign troops on U.S. soil against the American people to keep the peace or maintain control during any emergency or under any